Hello and welcome to Dingoes Ate My Podcast. I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
I'm Justin.
And this week we're talking about the episode Storyteller. This episode originally aired February 25th, 2003, attracting 3.6 million viewers.
On the one hand, it's a little sad, but on the other hand, thank goodness.
It's better than last week. A little.
It's a different format of an episode, is about all I'll say.
But they wouldn't know that going in.
Well, yeah, no.
That wouldn't affect your rating.
Wouldn't. But...
Alrighty, so this episode is pure genius. Let's get into it. Andrew, taking refuge in the bathroom, describes his own version of Buffy, Slayer of the Vampires, to a video camera, imagining that he is situated in an old library with a roaring fire, dressed in a smoking jacket and holding a pipe.
But yet he's on a toilet.
Not unlike Masterpiece Theater, but yes, he is sitting on a toilet.
And holding up the bathroom because there's a bunch of people that need to go into the bathroom to use it for every normal day purposes. Why can't you masturbate like everyone else?
It's one of my favorite Anya lines. His dramatic narrative of her exploits is cut short when Anya knocks on the bathroom door. He tries to explain his actions, and Anya is unsatisfied, reminding him of Buffy's irritated reaction the previous night when he followed her on patrol. He explains his desire to make a record of the events leading up to the apocalypse, in case humans survive, so that they know what Buffy and her allies did. But yes, Anya does ask him why he can't just masturbate like everyone else. just the best Anya line. Later, Andrew talks to a video camera and uses his big whiteboard to illustrate and explain an array of evil forces in Sunnydale. It's so good. He's got the little drawings and everything. There's a drawing of like the Hellmouth and then the school and then the Bringers and then the first evil.
Uber Vamp.
He just writes Uber Vamp. It's so good.
What a cringe.
He continues to interview the residents of the house, starting with potential slayers. He introduces a romanticized version of everyone to the camera. In his fantasy, Buffy seductively pours cereal, Spike appears without a shirt, and Anya eating a bunch of grapes. And it's this great, like midday soap opera, shooting and everything. It's really soft focus. Oh, it's so good. Buffy reiterates her irritation with Andrew's behavior as she describes her vision of vampire armies to her friends. Andrew sneaks away to continue his narrative.
This is the part where she just goes on and on. She's gonna be at this for a while.
And it gets really boring, and even Willow looks bored, and she can normally handle a lot of this. It's so good.
Totally taken away from the seriousness of the situation.
He's describing an idyllic scene of himself as leader of the trio, where he's basically like a James Bond villain. It's so good. As Buffy continues to talk, Andrew observes Willow and Kennedy and recounts their encounter with Dark Willow. Altering the past, Andrew imagines himself standing up to evil Willow and deflecting her power while Jonathan meekly hides behind him. Something that obviously did not happen.
No.
Buffy arrives at the school to find two boys fighting, a shy girl turning invisible because nobody notices her. That doesn't seem familiar. And various other disturbances. Buffy finds Principal Wood, who has just been injured by a thrown rock. But that's okay, the other two missed him. As she bandages his head, they discuss the bizarre yet familiar chaos dominating the school. She explains her suspicions that the activation of the Seal of Danzelthar is behind the morning's chaos. They investigate the newly uncovered seal in the school basement. As Robin gets close to the seal, he is infused with evil. In a demonic voice, he berates Buffy for her involvement with Spike. The connection is broken when Buffy pulls him away from the seal, leaving Robin with no memory of the possession. Meanwhile, at the Summers' home, Andrew films Dawn, then praises Sandra's expert repairs to the windows, ignoring Willow and Kennedy who are kissing in the living room. He is fascinated by Sandra's handiwork.
Whoa, check this out.
It's like
so good.
It's like it wasn't even broken.
It's like it's so obvious that like you're supposed to think he's gonna do something really sleazy, and then it's like, oh no, he's just like totally engrossed by Xander being a good handyman.
It's just Andrew.
It's so good. He re-interviews Xander and Anya, prying into their feelings about their ruined wedding. Afterward, the two talk to each other about what happened and what feelings still exist between them. In the basement, Spike tells Andrew and his camera to get lost. Andrew interrupts the lighting correction. Spike, who's been performing for the camera, enthusiastically repeats his verbal assault. It's like, no, the lighting wasn't quite right.
Oh, sorry.
It's like, get that fucking camera out of my face.
It's not surprising in the least.
Oh, no. Upstairs, Xander and Anya discuss their love for each other. They are recorded by a hidden camera, which Andrew reviews later. When Buffy and Robin arrive, they inform Andrew that he is going to help them deal with the seal, which at this point is surrounded by 5 possessed students and glowing with light. That's probably a good thing. The gang drills Andrew for information about the seal and tries to force out his memories with a special charm. He remembers an event from Mexico where he fled with Jonathan the year before. In the memory, he and Jonathan are suddenly woke from the same nightmare, both haunted by their evil pasts. After Jonathan leaves the room, he first appears to Andrew in Warren's form, questioning his progress in obtaining the knife necessary to sacrifice Jonathan. In the present, Willow asks Andrew where the knife is now. But don't worry, it's in the cutlery drawer.
You kept a murder weapon with all of our cutlery?
I washed it.
Washed it?
You did. No, I love this excuse. You didn't have many steak knives. It's so good.
I mean, murder weapon can be used as a steak knife. No.
How did nobody notice it? It's this giant ceremonial dagger.
I think with the potentials, they were probably like, oh, I guess she hides.
Oh, probably just another knife, whatever.
And I'm not sure what the case was with everyone else.
The knife is engraved with a language that is tied to the seal, and Willow begins to research. Buffy tells Andrew that she believes he can help her with her quiet the seal. They leave for the school accompanied by Spike and Robin. They arrive to find the school is being destroyed by ongoing student riots. Andrew tries to film their walk through the halls, but they are attacked by several strong students. Buffy and Andrew make their way to the basement, while Spike and Robin guard the stairway entrance. As they walk, Andrew tells Buffy about what happened when he killed Jonathan. However, in this version, he refuses to do the deed when goaded by the first in the form of Warren. However, when Jonathan sees the knife, he attacks Andrew, which results in his accidental stabbing, followed by Andrew dramatically screaming for his fallen friend. It's like Platoon up in here. Which is a reference apparently neither of you get. Anyway, when Buffy mentions Wood's earlier possession, Andrew instantly changes his story so that he stabbed Jonathan while he was under the seal's thrall. They enter the basement room carefully and find 5 students standing around the seal, their eyes freshly cut and sealed, like the Bringers, which isn't creepy at all. Yay! In the Summers basement, Xander and Anya revel in the aftermath of having sex again before talking about moving on with their lives, a conversation that fades into an awkward silence. At the school, Spike and Robin are attacked by more students. Spike inadvertently confirms his role in the murder of Robin's mother, and Robin makes a failed attempt to stake Spike. In the chaos of the fight, his actions go unnoticed. Buffy battles the new Bringers while Andrew records the scene with his camera. Once she has killed the Bringers, Buffy pulls out a knife and advances on Andrew, revealing that they must spill his blood to quiet the seal, since he was the one who initially activated it. Buffy describes the bitter prospects of their future and chastises his constant attempts to avoid taking responsibility for his actions. Andrew, frightened to tears, admits how he willingly murdered Jonathan despite knowing deep down that he wasn't really dealing with Warren and how he is sorry. He tells Buffy that he deserves whatever happens to him. Buffy leans Andrew over the seal so that his tears fall onto the surface. The seal closes and becomes quiet. Buffy reveals to Andrew that tears, not blood, were necessary to close the seal, and she had no plans to kill him. The students around the school are released and the violence stops. Later, a sad Andrew talks to the camera in the bathroom again, confessing that he will probably die, and that he deserves to. Then, without another word, he shuts the camera off.
I mean, that's the appropriate way to end the episode.
Yeah, it's a great ending.
Yeah.
And it's a great episode. Even though apparently David doesn't think so.
Well, it gets good.
It is part cringe and has moments of good referencing to particular things with Andrew's video casting and whatnot.
His vlogging before vlogging was a thing.
Yeah. Basically.
It's basically what he's doing.
Yeah, it is.
The flashbacks that go through all the sequence at the seal and going through the school to get there. Those parts were good, but just the start with Andrew just doing the little bits of, so, about your marriage being bad.
Hello, so gentle viewer.
It's so good. Where the camera's tracking through this library and there's Star Wars posters and shit on the wall.
That's appropriate.
Oh, it's so good.
Some bits were good, other parts were cringe. Cringe.
It was good.
On the whole, I enjoyed the episode for the good bits that it had.
The series.
But when all else comes down to it, we are glorious God.
I love this. Oh, it's so good. They have this, which is okay. We'll get into that in a minute. But they have this moment where they're all three of the trio are dancing in togas on this idyllic
idyllic little field. All the buttons.
And one's got a harp and it's so good. That was actually the last thing that Jonathan shot for the show.
Oh yeah.
That was the last scene that they shot.
That's great.
Yeah. Also, the voice in the nightmare that Jonathan and Andrew have, in Spanish actually says, "From beneath it devours you," but when they repeat it, they actually say, in Spanish, "It eats you starting from your bottom," which explains the mistranslation earlier in the season.
Oh, yeah.
It eats you starting from your bottom.
Which is a nice little touch.
That's great.
So, for international titles, in German, The Storyteller. In French, Under the Influence. Which would have been a much better episode title for Beer Bad.
Don't remind me that's an episode.
Okay, which did you hate more, Beer Bad or Hyena Demon?
Hyena Demon was the lowest point, but Beer Bad was pretty bad.
I still think you hate Hyena Demon too much. That episode was funny.
It was awful.
And for music, we have Robert Duncan with the original score. So, do either of you have anything else about this episode?
Well, one last little thing. I don't know if we really particularly said it, but with the particular workers and other developments, one of the typical jokes is at the end of the credits is the grr arg.
Yeah, right. That had a different grr arg.
Oh, what was it?
At the end of this episode, we are glorious gods.
Very good.
Yes. That was the one that I actually stayed to watch the credits for some reason, and it did do something different.
Very good. So, next week we'll be talking about Lies My Parents Told Me.
Sounds like a great episode.
Giles returns to Sunnydale with a possible solution for the trigger in Spike used by the First. Oh, and Principal Wood's going to take on Spike and prepare to revenge the death of his mother.
Oh, okay.
Good times.
Yeah, good times.
Oh man, well that tension's gonna come to a head. Hooray!
There's going to be a lot of Spike in this because we're going to be dealing. Spike is not overly willing to revisit his memories in order to find the trigger's origin and why it affects him so much.
Oh, fun.
It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a very, very fun time. And by fun, I mean horrible. But there'll be flashbacks.
I mean, the episode's called Lies My Parents Told Me?
Yes.
So...
Whose parents, though?
I don't know.
Very good
What?
question.
No. I have no idea.
But we're going to go to London and New York as well as, obviously, Sunnydale. So it's going to be a good time. Anyway, until then, I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Justin.